What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to another episode of the Block Sauce, your weekly web show that serves up the juiciest discussions in the world of Web3 and gaming culture. I'm your host and NFT ambassador, Jim Kieran, and today I've got an extra special episode. We've got a block for the Block Sauce. So, you know, we're going to be opening this bad boy up here in a minute, but for now, enjoy our fine intro before I jump in and show you who is on the panel today. Let's go. What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to the Block Sauce. As you can see, we've got a new face on the panel, so I'm going to take a moment to introduce you guys to Connor from Xborg. That's right, we got Xborg in the house this week. How are you doing, Connor?
Super well. Yeah, thank you so much for having me on. Really excited for this episode.
Well, I appreciate you taking time to join us. And of course, if you're living under a rock and you haven't been watching the Block Sauce, you're obviously doing Web3 wrong. I shouldn't need to introduce Shay and Graslow, but if you're not familiar, we got Graslow with Uldor and Shay with the Shay Show.
I'm a free agent right now, okay?
Free agent, yeah.
It's under wraps. Announcements coming soon.
Oh, man. How are you guys doing today?
Doing good. It feels so good to be back. I feel like I haven't been on in a while. Also, Jinky, can I just say I love the hair? Like, I'm so here for the hair. I haven't been on on an episode with this new hair. Like 2024 going in with like new energy, new vibes. I love it.
Actually, I usually keep it in a ponytail, but today I was like, you know what? We're just going to let it go. I hate the frizz. That's the problem, is the frizz.
I have some products I can recommend. I'll DM you.
Please. I'm begging you. What about you, Graslow?
I'm great. Everything feels like it's going hyper speed and super slow at the same time. I don't even know what that means, but that's just where I'm at right now. And also, I'm super curious whatever Shay's announcement is, whatever is under wraps. So yeah.
So maybe you should follow her on Twitter. But on the comment about things moving super slow and super fast at the same time, it feels like Web3 is just constantly moving. But I was looking at the news this week, and like it's mostly just partnership announcements. So it is kind of slow, but super fast. I don't get it myself. This is crazy. But should we open the box first? What do you guys think?
Yeah, let's do it.
I want to see
okay, we'll do the box. All right. So I kind of wanted to do it anyway because this is going to play. Well, not really play into the show, but so first off, I'm using my trusty Gerber troll. I'm not sponsored or anything like that, but I was issued this in the Army about 10 to 12 years ago, and I still have it, and it still works like the day I got it. So definitely recommend Gerber. Let's go. Can I get a drum roll? Come on, guys. Where's the drum roll?
Let's go. Can't wait to see what's inside.
All right. So they told me they were sending me a box. That's pretty much all the information I got. And I just lost an earbud because I set the box on my cable. That was smart. Ooh, well, this is going to help.
Also, I'm so here for the wired headphones, like wired headphones all the way.
Yeah.
Woo!
+2.
Let's go.
All right.
Okay,
That's fire.
We're not done. We have a second variant.
Very
Just the
cool.
logo. Let's go. This one
Very
actually
clean.
says the Block Sauce. So.
That's awesome.
What else? We got a hoodie. Ooh, yeah. Oh, you got the little logo there, and then of course on the back. Trying to center this with the camera, I can't see through the shirt.
Very cool.
Love it.
What else is in here? Let me see. Dang, there's a lot of stuff in here. Got a sweatshirt.
Very nice.
You know what? We getting some branding up in here.
I just want to know who do we have to talk to?
I'll get you figured out. Right now I'm not even sure if this is for sale. I'm the guinea pig, I guess. We got a beanie. So if you're not a hat guy, you're a beanie guy. You know.
I love beanies.
Yeah, I'm more a beanie guy for sure.
Oh, it's so hot in this office right now. I'm like, no, I'm not wearing a beanie. No, we'll do a hat. Oh, we got another hoodie, of course, with the other logo. And we're getting to the bottom. Oh, is this the last one? Oh, okay, cool. I can get rid of that. Oh, and there goes the headphones. Boom.
Swagger for days.
Oh, We got
That's
merch.
dope.
It sounds like I said, they just told me they were sending me a box. They didn't tell me what was in it or anything like that. I'm not 100% sure.
Wait,
but
who is they? Who is they? Like Rod?
yeah, Rod. You guys know Rod. So
Yeah.
this kind of leads me to believe that we might be having a merch store soon. Wink, wink.
Ooh, little
All
outfit.
right,
Very
all
cool.
right. Enough playing around with the box and a little bit of shilling for the show. We do have some really cool topics this week. I went out of my way to find one that was super fresh. Whenever I looked at the article last night, you guys, my day was thrown completely off. I'm sorry for the last minute on the topic choices, but I stayed up till like almost midnight getting everything ready. So I was able to find news that I don't think anybody else has broke yet, and that is Krita World is actually partnering not with just one, but they got multiple partners now. So I started looking into this. Like you guys, I'm sure you're all probably wondering who's Creative World. So they're apparently a metaverse that is not like gaming, right? They're more of a photorealistic metaverse. And what they're building on is Locust Chain. So Locust Chain is apparently building towards serverless solutions for Web3 gaming. So this sounds like a step towards truly decentralized Web3 gaming. What do you guys think? Is this good?
So
Maybe good?
I hadn't heard of this particular project either, and so I kind of like did some digging. And when I saw Locust Chain, like I haven't done anything with Locust Chain, but you know I did do a little deep dive, and I'm still trying to connect all the dots. But I saw another game that they were pushing, and I don't know if it's the same company or if it's just another game on Locust Chain, but it's on their website, and it's The Rise Kingdom Under Fire. And Kingdom Under Fire, that's a game that goes back to like 2000.
I was about to say.
So yeah, I
that's a
kind of
Web2
followed
game.
the trail there, and it looks like that studio was purchased, and the studio that purchased them turned into a blockchain company, and so now they're working in blockchain. So I was really interested in that because the game looks really good, like the new teasers. It looks like they have an NFT. They're selling land, but you know, when I went and looked at Locust Chain, they have 15,870 unique users on the chain, and an average daily active users of 167. So it seems very small, but I mean, they may not be doing anything on chain yet. You know, maybe it's one of those cases where the chain is kind of the test bed, and they're not really like doing all their live NFTs and everything there. So that may not be a fair, you know, metric to point out, but still, definitely want to know more. But at first glance, yeah, I don't know. I'm skeptical until I learn more, I guess.
I agree with that. By the way, so just so people are aware, the partners that I am currently aware of for Krita, it's Republic and Lloyd Investment Group. So they definitely have an investment group. I don't know much about Republic, but if I remember correctly, I know that they're a finance company. I think they're based out of Dubai, which honestly isn't surprising for those that weren't aware. Dubai, we talked about it on the panel. I think this was months and months ago. They were actually offering some incentives for Web3 builders to start building in Dubai. So if you like went there, you basically had your license, your business license and everything covered, and they gave you a grant and stuff like that. So I think we might actually start seeing more of the Web3 space kind of come from that Dubai area. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I think Dubai and Asia in general like are really leaning into, you know, Web3 as an investment and you know, in gaming as a category. So yeah, I agree.
100%. I think they're super well positioned. I know Mika lives over there. She's kind of she's in the Twitter influencer sphere, and like just a few people that I follow that are very like deeply involved in Web3 and NFT Twitter I follow. So it seems like they also have a very strong Web3 community. And yeah, the prince, I think Mika she's like an advisor at like the prince's office or something. I don't know. So like the royalty over there is like dabbling in Web3, which is
okay. Roll out the red carpet.
I really, really want to go to Dubai. Like I actually didn't know that they were like doing grants and stuff for Web3 builders. That's like super cool. I wonder if that's like still going on. I'm gonna look into that.
Yeah. So we actually just moved to Dubai.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I was actually about to ask you. I was like, I know that
Yeah.
Xborg's kind of like everywhere. Your guys' community is basically international. It's global. You got people from everywhere. And I was wondering if you guys had any more insight into this, because, like I said, outside of headlines, I don't know much about Dubai and everything that's going on. But I do know that they were supporting Web3 in multiple fronts. So it seems pretty neat, in my opinion.
Yeah, they're really supportive, and I think like you said, the grants are there, and like the legal setup is really good. I think I know it was we decided, we're a spin-off company from Swissborg, which is a Swiss crypto wealth app, and so most of our community was initially from France and Switzerland and Europe, and then we had to decide, okay, where is the best place for us to set up as Xborg, as a new entity. And we were deciding between like Switzerland, or then also Dubai was on the table. And that's what we went with.
I would too. I mean, especially if they're welcoming Web3. I don't know much about Switzerland and their Web3 situation, but I know if I'm spinning up a Web3 company right now, it sure as hell ain't going to be in the US.
Dubai is also just like dope. Like the vibes just seem like immaculate, unmatched.
I haven't been to Dubai, but I have been to the Middle East, and I went to Qatar. And I will tell you right now, their bazaars, the marketplace, the culture, the people, it's like nothing I've experienced in the US. I've even been to Japan, and Japan was also nice, but the nighttime culture, like you could go out to the bazaars, walk around the marketplace, shop. We went and got some food and hookah. So we were like sitting out there smoking hookah. They brought us tikka masala and stuff. And then we were able to finish up and just walk across the street, go to the beach and hang out at night under the stars on the beach. Like it was immaculate. I freaking love
so my vibe.
being over there.
Like the perfect evening.
I'm telling you, like people need to get out of their well, I'm speaking more from a US perspective, but we need to get out of our own country and go experience other cultures, because you'll be surprised. Like there's a lot of stereotypes and negative media. But I think even with the negativity that might surround Dubai, the fact that they're supporting Web3, they're clearly pushing forward, not just in the tech space, but they're doing a lot to be more progressive. And I think that people need to keep eyes on things like that, because while we think America's number one, I don't think that's the case. And even if we are, it's not going to last. I'm sorry. I hate to brag on America, but I have been around the world, and if I had the money and the capability, I wouldn't choose to live here.
I'm bullish on that. I can agree as an American citizen.
Oh my God.
Born and raised.
Slightly off topic, but I have to circle back to the fact that Locust Chain is doing serverless technology. Like imagine being able to build your Web3 games 100%.
It's so hard for me to wrap my head around that, even just from like a technology perspective. Like
I need to look more into it.
Yeah.
But if they got Kingdom, you said it was Kingdom Under Fire, right?
Yeah, Kingdom Under Fire.
Yeah. So if I remember correctly, they had two very popular games.
They had multiple versions of this game going back as far as 2000. And the new one looks like it's called The Rise Kingdom Under Fire. And I'm not sure if it's playable now, but they recently tweeted something with Kingdom Under Fire's graphics, and they said, "Is this the only playable Web3 game?" Which I thought was kind of a funny tweet to be tweeting like in the last month. But yeah, it appears that they're saying that it's playable. So I'm really curious about it because it looks good.
I'll have
and
to
apparently it's the only playable Web3 game.
Like
How dare they step on the toes of all the playable Web3 games that have 100% been absolute bangers in the last 2 years, right?
Yeah. It is crazy to be firing shots like that, though. That's insane.
It is. There's definitely plenty of playable games. Now, whether or not they're good, that's a different question. Oh my gosh.
I think it's interesting. We're seeing like in general, like not even just in Web3 gaming, but in Web3 as a whole, like the kind of meta, the phase that we're in the cycle, like all these new chains are kind of popping up, and there's some like L2s, L1s. And I think those chains are really looking to incentivize like early adopters and people who are early to the chains. And so it's just interesting to see.
Is there such a thing as too many chains? Because me personally, I feel like there's too many chains.
Well, it's way too many chains. Sorry,
Yeah.
Bresler.
No. I was just gonna say, like, it's interesting that we continue to like learn about new chains that are building and they have their own communities. I mean, I think a lot of the communities, to be fair, like are investors in the chain, and they want they want the price of the token to go up, or they want to get some airdrop or whatever. I think it remains to be seen like which chains will be able to use whatever funds they get to actually onboard long-term users or to onboard products that draw long-term users.
So here's the crazy thing about Locust Chain. So I just went and looked at their chart online, and their chart goes as far back as 2019, but this is the first time I've heard of them.
It's kind of sus.
It's sus, but I mean, if the Kingdom Under Fire team is working with them and they're building over there, again, this Krita world, this is not necessarily a new project. That's why the partnership announcement came across. If they're wanting to build over there, I mean, they got to be working on something that other chains aren't, because I cannot see projects choosing a chain that has been around that long. They have not blown up. Nobody really seems to know their name, and they're picking it, I'm pretty sure, for the solutions that the chain brings. Again, serverless Web3 gaming.
I need to see it. I need to see it proven, though. Until it's proven, it just sounds like vaporware to me.
Nailed it. I was waiting for somebody. I didn't want to come out and say it myself.
I will say that, like on the dev side, I do think that people are discounting how much you can do fully on chain and serverless. Like I do think that you're going to see more game genres that are more interesting that are fully on chain, and use some of the the P2P kind of technology and then mint that on chain. I think that there's some really interesting things you can do there, but yeah, it goes above a lot of people's head though when you start talking about what the server actually does and what of that you can kind of offload.
And is that needed? Is there a ton of advantage to having a fully serverless chain behind a game?
Because then you don't have nodes or validators either, right?
Well, they would be through the chain, remember?
Okay.
Yeah. So, but to answer Connor's question, yes. Because imagine not having to spend your whatever revenue you may have or whatever funding you may have, having to buy all that hardware, and not just buy it. You have to set it up. You have to maintain it. You have to hire devs to build on it. And then, if anything crashes and you have to start replacing it, like, it's going to save developers in the infrastructure side. Now, is there any benefit to me as a player? That's yet to be determined.
And you're kind of trading that cost, right? Because instead of paying AWS or like Azure, you're paying either through the transaction fees to mint, and the chain is subsidizing that cost, or the consumer is paying for it through fees. So you're just kind of like offloading that cost. I do think that there's going to be savings there. I think that model does make sense. But another advantage that on-chain gives you is the confidence of having that decentralization and knowing that you don't have this central authority that is deciding, what random drops you get or, anything like that. You have these more provable on-chain mechanics that I think gives the market more confidence.
Well, I recently had a discussion with somebody because anybody that saw my Illumia tweet, I was kind of being a little snarky, and somebody's like, "Oh, but you don't own your things in World of Warcraft." I'm like, "Yeah, what happens if Illumia server shut down? What do you own? A JPEG. I don't own the mesh. I don't own the model. I don't own the textures. I can't modify the textures or model. I can't carry it between games of my own choosing. It literally is essentially an asset stored on somebody's server somewhere. Now, if we move that to the chain and we are able to execute and have the games be able to read all these assets directly from the chain, that could 100% counteract my statement. And at that point, we could truly own our in-game assets in every facet. So I think there's potential here, but I'm, again, with Shay, where I need to see the proof in the pudding. This sounds like one of those too good to be true situations for the Web3 community. Obviously, normal gamers, we probably don't really care. I personally only care because I'm in Web3. I got my foot in here, But if I asked any of my Web2 friends, if you could fully just have access to everything, and it's yours, when you earn it or you buy it, it's truly yours, do you care? And they're probably not. They're probably not going to. Now, if you tell them they can buy, sell, or trade it, that they might have some interest. That's different, which you don't necessarily need Web3 for, let's be honest. But
I think that narrative will change over time, though. As we get more digital, we start to understand digital assets and the importance of ownership. I mean, just like with property rights in the real world, like there are times where you don't feel like you have property rights, and that becomes really important to people at a certain point in their life where they care about ownership and being able to know that they own their car, their house, whatever it is. And to think about more and more of your life is online, and you're investing so much time and now money into these digital assets, and we're shifting to like subscription models for everything. We don't own the movies we watch, we don't own the shows we watch. Everything could just be, the price goes up and we don't have access to it anymore because we can't afford it. I think that there's going to be a pushback where gamers say, we want to own these things.
So real quick,
Read, Write, Own by Chris Dixon that just came out, which I'm really early in, but I highly I really feel like this book has the potential to be like a needle mover for mass adoption and everything that Graslow is saying, like Chris Dixon talks about. And so just highly recommend that.
So real quick, we got some comments because you guys know I like to read the comments. Fruity Loop says, good looking panel. Mr. Console says, hello all. What's up, Mr. Console? And we got one question. Where is Connor from? So I know you're with Xborg, but I'm assuming they're going to probably ask where you're from, like in the world.
Yes. So I'm from Cape Town in South Africa, actually.
Oh,
we
that's
have
awesome.
We have quite a global team because everyone is remote. So I think we have someone in every continent, I think.
That wouldn't surprise me. Like I was saying earlier, like you guys are basically a global community. I've seen it. That I don't know how you guys built something that big, but freaking fantastic, especially when we're trying to get people to play games together. Gosh. Okay, so not to make this a Creator World space, we're going to go ahead and move on. Pixelmon apparently closed another 8 million seed round. This is like the comeback story of Web3. I swear to God, I saw the initial pictures of Kevin. We all memed it. We love Kevin now. The sentiment has completely shifted around Kevin. He's like the entire mascot. So everybody loves Kevin. I know Shay does. She's over there laughing. I don't know. Do you guys think with the amount of monster catching games and especially the sudden explosion of Power World, do you think that they can still find a way to carve out a niche within the market? Do you think that Pixelmon can still thrive with everything going on in gaming right now?
So I'll say, I think there's always opportunity. I mean, there's never
Nailed it.
I think there's never like a roadblock that's like, oh, this game's already been done. Like if you can bring a unique twist, if you can bring, passion to the game, you're going to be able to find a market. I think the question is though, just, looking at their raise and what they've brought in the past, their original mint did 75 million. Of course, that was a different team. It was 70 million. Yeah, 70 million. And that was early 2022. So if you think about like stretching that money out now, from my understanding, I think about half of that money went to the new team because the original guy, like it was just totally overpromised of what what was actually coming, where they were, what the art was going to be, what the game was going to be, their team and everything. So they had a new team took over, half the money went to them, I believe. So you're saying about 35 million still. I wonder what this $8 million seed round entails. Is this like, extending their runway a year or two? Is this getting to them to a certain release? So I don't know. I have a lot of questions, but I've seen some of the teasers. I mean, the game looks like it's coming along really well. So, yeah.
What a redemption arc is all I can.
We'll see. We'll see. Because remember, hype and speculation does not make a successful game. So I kind of want them to succeed because I want that underdog story. I want that, hey, this looked like garbage at the beginning. They completely got ragged on. People started flooring their assets and they showed up and said, hey, we're reverting course. I'm glad that they changed teams. If they weren't capable of doing it with the original team, maybe the new team can definitely nail it. It looks like they're going in the right direction. But I'm kind of with Graslow. Where's the money going? We are seeing some progress, but does it justify the amount that has been raised thus far? And does it justify the current seed investment? We'll see.
Well, with $43 million, you can build quite a good game. Don't know where the first 35 went in 1 year. That's insane. Or 2 years, sorry. But yeah, with 43, you should be able to build something really good, or at least get to a really good stage. So yeah,
it should be like a new standard in web. Like I like what you guys are saying. Like if you guys raise money in web, we should see where it's going. Like release this information.
What happened to transparency? Isn't that the point of Web3?
Yes.
I'm not saying build in public and release every single thing that you're working on, but at least where tell people where the money is going. So have something
like
set up.
This 20% going to this.
Like dev salary versus engine fees or licensing fees versus art costs. Like, give us a breakdown of why you need so much money, because it is getting to a point where we are seeing Web 2 absolutely turn the gaming industry on their head with way lower budgets, way lower dev teams. And that's where I'm starting to kind of raise the question recently, where's the money going? And this isn't specific to Pixelmon. This is applicable to a lot of games in this space. Let's be honest.
You know, it's really interesting too. Just you saying that makes me think of this one game in particular, and that's GTA, because the narrative, 4 months ago or something, was games are way more expensive than ever before, and you need huge budgets to make games. And then almost immediately after that, everyone started slashing budgets, massive layoffs in the gaming industry. So we're going to see this GTA come out at this massive price tag, huge blockbuster budget spend. Is that going to be where games start to pick up again and we see more investment into games and maybe this all kind of turns around? Or is this a permanent change where, thanks to the ease of indie developers making high quality games, AI, other tools, is that like having a permanent change on just the whole landscape? It's going to be really interesting to see like how the next year shapes out.
You brought up a good point, Graslow, and this has now piqued my curiosity, because how much was Grand Theft Auto? Like 600 million or something like that. One of the highest budget games I think we've seen to date in the history of gaming. And now I'm curious, can they beat Palworld's numbers? Because Palworld blew everybody. Like, I don't think anybody expected them to blow up the way they did. They've blown every metric out of the water. Last I checked, they were still top played and top selling on Steam. They pulled over, I think it was like 7 million players on Xbox, 19 million players on PC. If GTA cannot come out swinging and make records like they did and take them over, I think this is a clear indicator that a high budget game does not necessarily equate to a popular and widely successful game.
But didn't GTA 5 do like 2 billion in revenue or something like that? Isn't it
remember, they have their online service and they did that through actual microtransactions. So at that point, you're comparing a revenue of a live service microtransaction game versus an indie single time purchase game, because Palworld has no microtransactions.
Yeah.
You pay $30, you get the full game.
Which to GTA, they don't care, right? I mean, they they're going to see it as a win because they're going to make that money back and then some. But yeah, I mean, it's going to be interesting to kind of see it from a developer's point of view. Like, do you want to spend 30, 50, 100 million on a game, or do you want to get a really nimble studio and spend 5 or 10 and really hit something out of the park with a really small budget?
Yeah, but to Connor's point, that does start to get into sales revenue versus like ongoing revenue. So he does have a point there. Obviously, the model for GTA is drastically different. It's still going to be successful, no matter how you look at it. GTA 6 is probably the most looked for game I think it's this year. Is it releasing this year? No.
Next year.
Next year. Yeah. So I think they're still going to be fine. They're going to do well. I'm more curious on the sales though, because if, again, indie game, I mean, you want to get your game in front of as many people as possible, right? Like that's kind of the point is you want everybody to at least try your game. Nobody's keeping 100% of the players that buy the game. That's just not feasible. But you want to at least get it in front of everybody. And in GTA 6, if you can hook everybody, then you're going to have them spending overtime anyway. So regardless, they sell 1 million copies, but they're able to monetize 500,000 players throughout the course of GTA 6's lifetime versus Power World, which is like 27 million one and done.
But what are the GTA 5 copies sold stats? Do we know that? Is it surely Power World hasn't overtaken them?
Let's see. Copies sold. We can do a quick search on that one.
I think so too. Yeah.
Oh,
That was wild.
oh my God. What?
Exactly.
190 million copies? Where is that number from?
That's what I was like thinking, what are you talking about? GTA 5 is insane. They're going to make so much money on GTA 6 and everyone's going to play it.
Well, to be fair, GTA 5's also been out for 10 years at this point, and they've gone through multiple sales. I know they've also been free on Epic Games many times. So it's a little, I'm just saying, 27 million players in 1 month versus 190 million in 10 years. I feel like Power World's still on track for an excellent number of sales and players. But you do have a strong point here. The long-term game is definitely where Grand Theft Auto is not falling. Like they oh my God, I didn't realize it was that much. I was expecting probably 50 to 100, but 190 million copies. God. Ooh. Also, back to the comments. Jorge says, never realized Connor looks like a model. Connor's getting a lot of attention today. So more often. And Fruity Loop said, transparency, what's that? Ouch. Ouch.
Right.
Oh my God. That was rough.
We're actually trying to increase transparency in the space. Well, not just in the space, I guess more so obviously with Xborg. But we recently announced our free mint on Monday. And Louis decided to post a tweet, our CEO, saying, should we, showcase transparently our whitelisting process? Like exactly how many whitelist spots we gave out to the exact people. And everyone voted like yes. So now that's something we're going to do.
That's awesome.
Which I think, which is pretty cool.
I saw another tweet regarding that though. There was something about, I can't remember. Somebody made a comment about the Xborg whitelist, and it was like the colors are, the true colors are showing or something like that. Like, what do they mean by that?
The true colors are showing?
That's not, I'm paraphrasing. I would have to try and
hopefully they meant
again.
that in a positive way.
Well, I think it was actually from one of the Xborg people. I can't remember.
It was in reference to like the attention that the whitelist is getting or something like that. Like,
Did you see it too, Grezlo?
I saw it, but I didn't look into it.
Okay.
But I know the tweet you're talking about.
I just hope people weren't ragging on Xborg because I'm just saying I need you guys from
general all over my timeline and in spaces. I think it's been a big topic of conversation, like pushing founders to be more transparent about their allow listing process, like which content creators are getting allow lists, which investors are getting allow lists and stuff like that, because are they shilling it because they're actually passionate and they're invested, or are they shilling it because they're getting free whitelists for their community, So I think that's really cool. And I feel like that's been like a big topic of conversation lately.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of justifiable pushback over some of the things that have happened over the last few months.
I mean, yes. I'm just saying, I pulled the shades back on some of my inner dealings and told people like, hey, yeah, like I made profit off of these situations, but I do not morally align with these situations, so I'm not doing this no more. So if anybody's looking to sponsor me for Web3 stuff, sorry, I'm going to take the normie route, and I will buy into your game and give full, honest, and probably not always the best insight. So,
and
I think integrity right there.
Yeah, but I think sponsorship is fun as long as you're transparent about it.
I agree.
I think that's where the problem is. Just
I agree, but the issue that I've run into with sponsorships, and I only took a few before I stopped, is I found that they were giving creators insider knowledge, and people were able to make absolute bank because they had first mover advantage. In any other industry, that would be called insider trading. I'm just saying I am going to protect myself. I'm going to protect my brand, and I am not going to be involved with those dealings anymore. I'm sorry. I will 100% support your project if I believe in it. And you got my full backing. Like Shrapnel, which is our next topic. Yes. For those that aren't aware, I am excited for the play test today. I did not. We talked about him on the show when Dub was here the other day. He works with the Shrapnel guys. I think it was 2 weeks ago. They had a play test for operator holders. And if you were watching the show, you'll notice we had a weird cut at the end. It just died. Power went out across like half of my city, and I didn't get to play in the play test. I was so mad.
No.
Oh. So I am getting into it this go around for sure. I have been holding an operator since the week of their mint. I won one of their operators in a public giveaway. I got no special treatment on this, guys, but I am excited to actually be able to get in and give my honest opinion because I've seen nothing but hype around this, and I don't know if it's just bag holders or they're genuinely building something unique. But from what I have seen so far, it looks like a dope game, and I will 100% give you guys my raw, unfiltered take because you guys know that's what I'm about. So, what are your guys' thoughts on Shrapnel? Like, I know initially when they did the very first trailer, they kind of got ragged on pretty hard because it was not exactly the cleanest trailer, and the person they had shooting was like intentionally missing every bullet ever, and it didn't look good. But now that we've seen actual gameplay, we're starting to see them release a little bit more and more, because content creators that were releasing clips previously were limited to like 1 to 2 second clips, but now we're seeing full montages, and it just I want to play it.
Yeah. I can't wait to play it myself. A content creator who has played it compared it to Battlefield and said that it feels a lot like the mechanics in that game as far as like movement and everything. And that sold me on it. Like now I need it because I'm a huge fan of the Battlefield series.
Same. Battlefield's better than COD. You heard me say it here.
No way.
Well,
early
2042. We don't talk about 2042.
Yeah. Battlefield 3, maybe 4.
Exactly. Those were the OGs in my book. Battlefield 2 was pretty good too.
1942.
Yeah, it looks like they've cleaned up the shooting quite a bit. The initial trailer had like motion blur and so much like,
Yep.
The shit we turn off, when we're playing ranked. It just had everything on there. And now I think I saw Cairo playing it. He's obviously cracked at games.
His montage, dude. His montage was
insane.
Dope.
I love watching his content. And yeah, the shooting looks a lot cleaner. The hit registration, the movement looks cool. The maps are still super basic, it seems, but that comes with time. Keen to are they allowed to stream the playtest tonight?
I believe so. I'm gonna double check because I sure didn't sign in any NDA and I got access to the game. So I mean, I'm just saying, if I got access and I didn't say that I'm not,
you're gonna be streaming.
So that's actually I can't tonight. I've got my World of Warcraft raid tonight, but maybe if I can get away with it from work after the show.
Priorities.
Look, do I really need a full-time 9-to-5 Web 2 job? I mean, I got Web 3, right?
I just continue to be impressed. And this is like more of like, I feel like I just approach things with like more of a Web3 generalist perspective on this show, but I just continue to be impressed with Shrapnel's like commitment to content creators and their commitment to just exposure and being out there and sponsoring Gamified, like all these different shows. So just, always impressed with
Sorry, Dub. Yeah.
Yeah, and the UGC, if they lean into that UGC content, and you got players again like Dead Drop, where people can go and make their own game modes, make their own maps, create their own asset, not like our version of assets, but in-game assets. I think that this could have very strong longevity if they continually support it. They listen to the community and make changes based on feedback, and they build a really dope game that the players are super excited to jump into. And the play test right now is for extraction pack holders. You don't have to buy a freaking NFT, guys. You have essentially the Web 2 equivalent of founders passes that range anywhere from $20 to $100, which is probably one of the most reasonable early access prices I have seen in Web 3. So I don't know. I'm looking forward to it. I think they're doing a lot of things right. Everything I've seen and heard from the team is kind of going in the right direction. The only thing I'm not going to sit here and pretend to be super knowledgeable about is whatever play to earn economic system they got going on with their strap token and everything else. But as far as the game itself is concerned, because I'm a gamer, at the end of the day, everybody knows I like to preach that first. Gamer first and foremost. It looks like something I genuinely want to play. So that nails it for me.
Yeah, we need some good competitive games.
Wait, you're saying we don't have any already?
Well, I mean, we've got the Kingdom Under Fire, the only playable Web3 game. But
exactly.
Other than that,
I'm just saying we got EV, we got Dead Drop, obviously still very early. We've got plenty of TCGs and auto battlers. I mean,
yeah,
you got an entire
TCGs,
library to pick from those.
Yeah, TCGs, like they were the early hit. I mean, seriously, like if you're a TCG player, there's plenty of competitive play out there in Web3.
Yeah.
But if you're like a shooter, I don't think there's the quality of gameplay yet. I mean, most games that are out there, they're good. It's just they're not fully fleshed out.
Exactly. Yeah. We need
Connor,
a really good FPS game for sure.
I was about to say, what do you guys usually compete in? I know Xborg competes in like everything. So what have you noticed your community tends to lean towards when it comes to FPS in the Web3 space right now?
Yeah, so we were the tournament scene has died down so much in Web3. Yeah, it does suck. So I mean, I just think you can't get that many signups, and yeah, games aren't really ready for tournaments. We hosted a $100,000 USDC, not like our tokens or something, tournament last year with Brave on Eve and Gods Unchained, Planet Mojo, The Bornless, and another game I can't Across the Ages, and it was really cool, but not many players, played. I think we had like 4,000 signups over 5 months for $100,000. So not the best like ROI. And I think that's why we don't see many tournaments now, because sponsors and orgs just can't afford to pay for tournaments if they're not going to get a lot of ROI. So we were playing a lot of Eve. We had a very strong Eve team, but tournaments dry up. And also we were playing against Eternity every single finals. There wasn't much competition. So it got a bit boring. I know our Web3 FPS team is really cracked. They're like ex-CS Valorant pros. So now they're grinding the finals, looking for like a really good Web2 game that's new that they can grind. So I think they're the best team in Europe now at the finals. So that could be interesting, but we need a good Web3 game. They're actually going to be playing Shrapnel tonight for the first time. Which is cool.
So you kind of hit something on the head. The ROI for tournaments, I'm going to tell you right now, there's a tournament happening for Planet Mojo starting tomorrow that runs all the way through Sunday. I haven't seen any hype around it, really. Hardly anybody talking about it. I'm actually playing in it. They invited me. But that is something I noticed is I get invited to a lot of tournaments and I see a lot of the same faces and the same players. I don't really see new people coming in very often.
Exactly.
So I hope that we can get that changed. I really do. But honestly, I would like to see people just doing tournaments for fun. Why do we have to always be paid to play in tournaments? I used to play in League of Legends tournaments just for bragging rights, like just to say I was better than somebody. What happened to that? What happened to talking smack and like, I don't know if anybody remembers a little game called Meta Ops in Web3. I know. We're not gonna discuss what happened with them or what's going on. I don't know. I know I had close ties with them guys. Look, I'm in the dark just like everybody else. All the mods that were involved with the project, we completely blacked out. But we just ran community nights and just like, okay, 1v1 me, bro. And we would just set up like multiple lobbies. Everybody go in 1v1s, like snipers only, knife only. We just had fun with it. But people don't seem to be doing that anymore. It's like everybody has to be paid to jump into these events. And it's not necessarily a good outlook? Like when you think about it, why do you have to be paid to play this game? Are the games that bad, or are you only here for the money? Where's the solution?
I'll say it's not that the games are that bad. It's just that in most cases the games are that early. Like the games are not spending huge, like traditional, like in the Web2 space. When your game is ready to release and you're doing tournaments, you're spending a lot on ROI through paid ads, through influencer campaigns. In Web3, you do that way earlier, but it's mainly to get Web3 revenue. It's to get liquidity for an NFT sale, a token sale, attention and floor price rise, so that you get that volume going on marketplaces. But the game itself is not ready for like Web2 promotion, and so it's just a different kind of environment. I think one thing with Shrapnel, like we'll have to see like how far along is it. Connor mentioned like the maps aren't done yet. It's like obviously they're still early. Is Shrapnel like ready to start spending money to get Web2 players over, or are they gonna have to wait for all of that to be finished first?
Oh, from what I've seen of Shrapnel gameplay, they're still very early. They're missing textures. The maps do not look complete. So I think that right now a lot of the hype is from people just wanting to test the game and get a feel for what they're actually building. Because like I said, they have been super restrictive on what content creators and participants could release. So I think this is more of they've hyped this up. It's supposed to be this amazing game. Now content creators are releasing more and more. We're starting to see more gameplay, and the interest is genuinely there. Now, as far as bringing Web2 people over, I don't think it's ready, because if you look at indie early access games, depending on the game, it is highly situational. There's no umbrella answer here. But some early access games get torn apart because people do not understand what early access means. They think that they're getting a completed game that just needs some bug fixes and polishing. No. I'll tell you right now, when I got into early access for Paragon, a game from Epic Games, one of the largest publishers in the world right now, there were missing character models. There was literally just a block where enemy NPCs should be. And people didn't care because the ones that were playing understood that it was that early. But now with the way that indie early access is happening on Steam, people expect much more completed projects. So the perception of early access has shifted from we're okay not having everything ready to now we want everything at least working. And it's like, that's not how this works, guys. It's too early right now. This is supposed to be play testing, give feedback, they iterate on that feedback, they keep building, and there's no point in building everything out just to have feedback tear it apart, and then you have to tear it down and rebuild anyway. So
and the other downside is that is it sustainable? Like, are you going to have a player base that's playing tournaments and actively jumping in the game every day when it's not finished and when components are still to come? So there are downsides to this, like community first, public first building, which I'm all for, but there definitely are downsides.
So this whole talk about tournaments got me curious, and I went to Community Gaming's website. For those that aren't familiar, it is a platform that hosts a lot of Web3 game tournaments. Apparently that may not be the case anymore. I see Free Fire, isn't Free Fire Web3 or no? I can't remember. Nobody knows?
I don't know.
Yeah. Okay. I don't know anything about Free Fire. I do know that it was a pretty popular shooter. I believe it's on mobile, and that's probably why. But I see Teamfight Tactics. I see Clash of Clans, Mobile Legends. So lots of Web 2 tournaments instead of Web 3.
Yeah.
I think that is kind of a proof in the pudding situation that the tournament scene in Web 3 is not as strong as it was a year or two ago. And I'm not going to say it's a bad thing. Again, if the only way people show up to your game is if you're throwing out money for it, that's not the kind of player I think you want to keep in there. Unless they're an esports pro. Esports pro, different story. I'll tell you right now, they love to compete for money. I played against Xset and Halo Infinite, and that was, let's just say I was Obsidian ranked. My team, on the other hand, was bronze and silver because it was a bunch of friends that I just threw together for this tournament. They were not ready to play against the pros.
What do you think has led to like a decline in the tournament space in Web3?
I think it's what Connor was mentioning. I think people are realizing the ROI is not there. You're not pulling in new players. They're only showing up to play in the tournament. Then once the tournament's done, they bounce, leave, next tournament or next play to airdrop or next play to earn. Let's be honest. Web3 is very financial driven right now. The amount of genuine gamers can probably be counted on two hands.
Yeah. Well, actually,
I'm exaggerating there, obviously.
All the players that played in these tournaments were very high skilled. So we were I think by a good amount of way, we were the like most active on community gaming in terms of tournaments per month hosted. Last year we hosted or in the last 2 years, we've done 250 Web3 tournaments on community gaming. And on every Web3 game you can think of. We were just doing so many tournaments. And it was always the same 50 to 100 players, different players for different games, or at least similar players for similar genres. So the TCG players would overlap into Gods Unchained, Cross the Ages, and those kind of games. I just think that those players weren't really there for the money. They were there to improve and to compete. Yeah, they're very competitive. They were it's very important for them to place well and win competitions. And if they didn't win or they came second, they'd be very pissed off.
Especially if you're a content creator, that's one of the best ways to pop off is to be extremely good at a game. Yeah. Let's be honest.
Yeah, there were so many times where, after a tournament, there would be, fights and Discord tickets with this guy cheated and, the game is broken. There was a bug here and he used it to his advantage. And it's just
okay, look, I've been one of those players. I've been one of those players. I played in a tournament and there was a bug and the mods were even aware of it whenever I reported it. And they were like, oh, we know about that. And I'm like, then why didn't you fix it before the tournament?
Yeah.
How are you gonna run a tournament on a non-tournament ready game?
Yeah, all of them were non-tournament ready games, and
that's true.
All the bugs were known about.
But it's different when it's a one-shot bug. When you can literally one-shot the enemy because of a bug with a weapon, that starts to skew things because then it just devolves into everybody using that one weapon.
Sorry, go ahead.
Sorry, guys, I'm hogging the mic here, but there was this one bug on the Machines Arena game, which is a super cool game. But we were playing against this really strong team, and our team's really competitive. They don't want to lose. And I think when you hop on the, I don't know what the asset or something that you have to take across the map, in this one spot, your gun doesn't shoot. That's a bug. Yeah, you can't shoot. I think it's one shot single fire, and then you can't shoot after you shot the first shot or something. So they were really upset about that. I remember that. That's you can't play with that. That's no good.
Ouch. But it does happen. I mean, we've even seen it in League of Legends tournaments, high-end, super high production, Riot sponsored tournaments where they end up having to shut down a match and restart it because there was a bug that just happened to occur during that match. It's not always going to be avoidable. But the problem that I did notice in Web3 is most people do not want to take the time to correct the situation. They're like, nope, just play it out, keep going. If you lose, you lose. And I'm like, well, that's not really in the spirit of fair competition.
And that's not going to lead to retention in long-term players and users, I feel like.
But at the same time, remember, it's not always the developers or the game themselves hosting these tournaments. So some of these tournaments, it's not the fault of the project, it's the fault of the tournament organizers. So I do want to note that the one that I played in specifically was third party. It was not through the game project itself. So I just was like, whatever, I just won't play in their specific tournaments anymore. But I still show up and play the game, right? So just food for thought. It's not always going to be on the project. Just throwing that out there. But we do have some comments again. So we got Fruity Loops. Who do they have to bribe to get this sweet new merch? I will find out because I was just in the dark like you guys. I literally was told, hey, we're sending you something. I got a box and we opened it. That you got the same amount of information I do at this point. So we'll find out. I believe that the merch line is going to launch at some point. I just don't think we're ready yet. So Free Loop says, I'm an influencer. I have 100 followers. Pay me.
You're hired.
Look, in Web3, it feels like a lot of game projects will take whatever they can get. I'm just saying, you got 100 followers. Guess what? If you got 100 interactions from 100 followers, that's probably more valuable than my 4 interactions from my 3,000 followers. So metrics, they're weird. Ask Connor if he speaks Afrikaans. I may have pronounced that wrong.
That was pretty good. Yeah, I don't. Well, okay, I can speak a bit of Afrikaans, a bitchy, but yeah, that was my worst subject at school. So yeah, I don't come from an Afrikaans family, English family, but that's one of we have, I think, 12 official languages in South Africa, and Afrikaans is one of them. It comes from Dutch.
Look, I'm American. You're lucky to get 2 languages out of me. Though I do know a little bit of Japanese and a little bit of French. I took French class. I lived in Japan for 2 years. So, je parle petit français and genki desu ka? Not the watamasu desu. But I cannot hold a conversation in any of them except English. My education system failed me. Oh, man. So last topic of the day, Disney X Fortnite. Now, obviously, this is not Web3 related, but this is gaming related and in a way metaverse, because we know that Epic is not shying away from the metaverse. They definitely seem to be wanting to build an actual metaverse. And I say actual because we talk about it in Web3 and people build their own isolated instances, but they don't have interconnectivity or anything like that. We've already seen Fortnite kind of start to lean into this a bit more, because you now have the Lego Fortnite, you got the Rocket League that they built inside of Fortnite, you got the zero build, like they got all these different modes, you got creator modes, and you just jump into them by selecting these little portals and stuff. Like it's kind of neat. Now, throwing Disney into the mix and having their IPs, I'll tell you right now, I love Disney. Kingdom Hearts, I own every single Kingdom Hearts on like every single platform. So, I'm kind of interested to see what Disney does with this. I really want to see what they can do and what they can build and how it interacts with the overall Fortnite universe, because this could be a true first step to an interconnected situation. Because like I said, Lego kind of did it. Rocket League kind of did it, but it's still go back to the main menu, select your game mode, essentially. So
So Disney took out a $1.5 billion stake in Epic. And Epic's one of my favorite companies, makers of not only Fortnite, but also the Unreal Engine. And so I'm just really interested to see like where they're going with this. Now, Epic is working on some incredible stuff to support not just like a metaverse that they build, but a metaverse that anyone can build. Mm-hmm. So the fact that Disney is, investing in them is very interesting. And of course, Disney's big partners with Apple and big on the Vision Pro, which Epic and Apple don't get along. So that there's an interesting little love triangle issue there. But yeah, I'm really curious because, with the Apple Vision Pro, one of the things everyone pretty much hates is the avatar that does not look very lifelike, does not have great facial animations. But I'll tell you who's good at that. Epic. Epic has metahumans. They have all the facial bones and structures, and they can mocap it to have, amazing, emotion and just, different expressions. So it would be very interesting to see if those three, Disney, Apple, and Epic work together on something.
And I saw somebody point this out the other day, and it's kind of a ding towards Web3, but land sales. Why would somebody go and spend $3,000+ buying an NFT land when they can go into Fortnite and build their own land for free and still monetize it?
Or Nifty Island.
I'm just saying there was a point to be made there, and I was like, I never thought about that. Maybe I need to start building in Fortnite.
Yeah. I saw that tweet today. It was from Bryson, I think.
Yeah, I think it was.
Great take. It's interesting. I saw an article or like a post about the Illuvium land sale a few years ago. I think it was maybe 2 years ago, 1 year ago. I don't know. But they raised like over 70 million US from the land sale. Going to be interesting to see how that works out. But that's a lot of money, right?
It's a lot of money It's a lot of money to maybe make a return if you're lucky to break even. Whereas in Fortnite, it's straight profit, boys.
And then you have the other side deeds, which people were paying tons for. And there's like, what, 100,000 of those or something, some crazy number. I'm really curious where the narrative for land is going. I do think that you could do some really interesting things with land. Lately, the discussion is, why would you add scarcity just artificially in a game? But I mean, to me, that's kind of funny, because scarcity is in games all the time. It makes games more interesting and fun. Like whenever you kill a boss and you get some extremely rare loot, like, you are ecstatic. If there were no rares and everyone just got amazing stuff all the time, that would not be fun.
I'll tell you right now, you guys know me, World of Warcraft, here it comes. I have been farming for the same item in World of Warcraft for the last like 6 months, and I still cannot get it. There are people farming for items for years before they get them. Scarcity is not new. Rarity is not new. In Web3, what is new is now we have proven scarcity. So if that rare skin that I bought is actually more distributed than the common, then which one's actually rare? Ta-da! So there's definitely benefits here, and this is one of those rare situations. I can say Web3 fixes this genuinely, because that is something that I kind of have complaints about, especially with like the Fortnite store. They have these time limited events, and they're like, "Oh man, look at this super rare! It's a legendary skin," and I'm like, "Is it really legendary though?" Like, if every single player goes after the rarest skins and nobody's buying the commons, which one's actually the rare skin? And I'm just saying, it makes you think. But if it was all on chain, and I knew that legendary only had 100 skins and the common had 10,000, at that point, I know for a fact that if I am buying a legendary, it is truly a rare asset and something that is worth the increased cost. Because of course, for the legendaries, they're charging more for them. And it's not just Fortnite. They're just the best example. Obviously, League of Legends, they have higher tier skins that cost more, and they're like ultimate and legendary and rare, epic, whatever. Call of Duty, I think, has a similar system in place. Like, everybody's kind of doing the same thing, but we have no provable source for any of this. So is it more based on the art? Is it because the art is legendary? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. You've just made me think now, because I play a ton of Rocket League, which is from Epic now. Epic bought Rocket League last year or the year before. And you're right. They have this tier system of loot, but you can buy, like, what is it? Legendary. I think they have legendary, epic, and, a few other tiers in there. You can buy them. So in the store, and then there can be as many as people buy, right? Which lessens it now that I think about it.
Exactly. And a lot of people don't look at that. I'm still buying my rare skins. Like, I gotta look good while I'm playing games. I'm just saying. But
if it looks good, then you have to get it.
So Free Loop's got a comment for Shay. I want to see Shay more often. Gonna marry her in Dubai. You can be my best man.
Oh my goodness. Okay, Fruity Loops.
Oh man. They also do have another comment. Web3 fixes this. Here you go. Connect 100 wallets. I can't. I'm under friend DA, so I can't say nothing about it. But I do believe that there's a platform that is working on such a solution, so you don't have to go and create and connect 100 wallets. They will take care of that for you. I will say more later, and keep an eye on the Block Sauce, because I might be having them on one of our YouTube episodes, or maybe bring them in for the live panel. I don't know. We'll see.
If you guys saw my MetaMask, I literally have wallets that I've labeled abandoned. I've created so many wallets to gamify different things. So that solution sounds awesome.
Thankfully, I don't have that problem. If I do have to start labeling them, it's not going to be abandoned. It's going to be compromised. That's the only thing that I'm concerned about, because I'm pretty good about my wallet security and management, but I don't want a bajillion MetaMask wallets. I don't want a bajillion Phantom wallets. I want the one wallet to rule them all.
I can't do one wallet. I can do like a couple, and each serves like a different purpose, like a Mint wallet, Alt.
I can't actually do that. I have all 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 extensions in my Chrome, however many it takes. But It's a dream. I have a dream. Okay. Let me have my dream, Harold.
That's valid, Jinky.
Oh my God. No, but for real, I think that we are moving in the right direction, and I'm glad to see. Again, I can't say much more about it, but I do believe that people are finally starting to build genuine solutions to some of these issues to help with the onboarding process and alleviate the stresses that gamers are running into trying to get into these games. Keep an eye out. Like I said, more to come. I can't talk about it, but soon.
What happened to transparency, Jinky?
I'm under
Leak it.
NDA. It's not launched yet. However, I will say give it a month. Give it a month.
Nice.
Copy that.
Oh, man. So that's all I had. Was there anything that you guys might want to touch on before we wrap things up? I don't know if anybody has a hard stop or needs to jump, but if you need to, we can wrap this up very quickly. No? Going once. Going twice. Sold. And Fruity Loop said Team Graslow. So look, you got a super fan there, Graslow.
Just not letting me be left out, I guess. I'll take it.
I was about to say it's kind of been the Connor show all day, so
Shay's getting married. What are you talking about? She's getting marriage offers
true.
in Dubai.
Apparently I'm the best man, so I guess I got to find a passport and get a ticket to Dubai. Shay, if you need help with the wedding dress, let me know. I'll try to meet up with you and we can go shopping.
I need a one of one, okay?
A one of one. Ooh.
You get the block sauce logo on the dress.
I
They'll
love
send
it.
it to you in a box.
Yeah.
A lit
I
box.
love it. It's going to have to be a pretty big box, though, because you don't want wrinkles and folds. So I'll talk to Rod about that, see if we got anything in stock big enough.
Rod can handle it.
Oh, my God. This was a great show today, guys. Thank you so much for hanging out. That's going to be a wrap for us, but this was another great episode of the Block Sauce. We're going to have Connor back. Apparently, you're a fan favorite. Shay, I don't know if you get married, you might not have enough time to join us anymore. I'm sorry. And Graslow, of course, we always want you to come back and hang out with us. Keep us up to date on Oldor as well. I know that you guys just announced a little something. Actually, wait, before we wrap this up, I'm pretty sure both Graslow and Connor have some stuff going on.
Yeah, I'll just quickly say, we did release an update. We announced it yesterday, I believe. And this is going to be our last update before our PvP launch. So this is kind of like under the radar. We really just announced it to our community. Haven't posted on Twitter yet. We'll probably do that in the next day or so.
So here you go, a little alpha.
Yeah, little alpha for the Block Sauce.
There you go. So keep an eye out on Oldor, and then of course Connor and Xborg, you guys are building something. You want to kind of? I know we got the interview coming soon, but you want to spill a little tea before we do the full show?
Yeah, sure. Yeah. So we first Xborg, we're basically a player identity protocol, so building the identity of players, we do that through Gamerbase, which we released. It's our main app, and then also we build fan apps for some of the biggest esports teams in the world. So we just announced Ninjas in Pajamas, I think it was end of last month, which was cool. But we've got an even bigger announcement coming up this month. It was confirmed internally. Probably, I would say, the biggest esports team in the world, building the identity of their fans through their fan app. So we're announcing that this month. And then we also announced our pre-sale and free mint. The free mint will be happening end of Feb, and then the pre-sale, the last chance to buy XBG shill before we go public. So yeah, look out for that.
Not to brag, but when he says the largest esports team in the world, I know the answer. And he's right. He's right. So he's not exaggerating. He is not exaggerating. I can't spill the tea though. You guys got to go watch the interview and follow Xborg on socials and be prepared for that announcement. Turn that notification bell on. Do the same for Oldor. Shay, whenever you announce whatever you're announcing,
I'm under NDA. I got lawyers reviewing contracts and stuff. But when I'm ready,
when you're ready, we'll let you shill yourself. Right now, unfortunately, I don't want you to get in trouble. So. We'll just say make sure you're following Shay as well, because she's got news coming. So,
bullish.
All right, now we're actually going to wrap up. This is a great episode, you guys. I appreciate everybody taking time out of your week to join us. Again, thank you so much. This was fantastic. But before we close, We couldn't have done it without all of our amazing viewers and supporters. Your engagement and passion fuel our drive to bring you the hottest topics and thought-provoking conversations week after week. Remember, sauce never stops flowing. Stay connected with us on social media. Follow the Block Sauce on Twitter, please. So, we're not advertising the website right now. There's some stuff going on. I'm not going to say too much. I'm not going to spill any beans there. But eventually there will be the website again. So yeah, keep an eye out for that and follow the Block Sauce. Turn the noties on. More announcements. We all got announcements. This is great. I love it.
Also, shout out Rod.
Of course. So for those that aren't aware, Rod actually puts a lot of stuff together in the background for us. Thanks to him and the fantastic artists that he works with, we have all these new graphics and overlays. That's where the website's coming from and all this stuff. He does a lot of work that you guys don't see, so he deserves that shout out 120%. Okay, well, that's going to be it for us today, Sauce enthusiasts. Join us next time for another thrilling episode of The Block Sauce, where we'll keep the gaming flame alive and the discussion sizzling. Stay saucy and keep gaming in the exciting realm of Web3. Thank you guys and have a good one.
Cheers, guys.
Yes.
Peace.